Hi, it's Mobile Max. Tuesday, May 19th, 2026. This is my opinion. I just watched an episode of Star Trek. It was season 2, episode 4, called Mirror, Mirror. And it starts off with Captain Kirk, Dr. McCoy, Uhura, and Engineer Scotty trying to negotiate with the Hulkans over dilithium crystals. And the Holcomb representative says, we'll never give you the dilithium crystals because you'll use them for war, so we're never going to give them to you. So Captain Kirk and the others have to beam back, and there's a lightning storm taking place while they're trying to beam back, and when they finally appear, they have different outfits on with knives and very aggressive looking, and they end up on a parallel universe where everybody's brutal and cruel and selfish and always trying to slit the other guy's throat for advancement. Anyway, I figured that's what happened to the Democrats. I was born in 1955 in Los Angeles, so I spent my whole life here in California. And the last, like 7 years, the good Democrats who always cared about the environment and trying to get ahead. We have Silicon Valley. They used to have terrible smog, and then they got rid of it with the highest air standards in the nation. Anyway, that's what happened to the Democrats in California. They got replaced by a parallel universe who were cruel, brutal, selfish, and totally repugnant in every way. Let me give you some examples. The legislature and Gavin Newsom have passed many laws in the last couple of years. A lot of them have to do with loosening like tort laws and stuff. Like for abuse cases, they get rid of the statute of limitations. So if the social services, children agency that take care of foster care and stuff, abuse people, you can sue them, like 50 years later or whatever. However, what happens, and this just happened, the LA County was sued and received a quick settlement of $4 billion. And attorneys, because of this new legislation that allowed them to go back way in the past on supposed victims who had been abused many decades ago. Anyway, the $4 billion, who paid for it? The taxpayer, of course. The taxpayer, always the one who get it in the end, pay the bill. Everybody who abused these people, the actual people who did this terrible thing to children and passed them off to pimps and gangsters, nothing happened to them, nothing. Nobody went to jail, nothing. Just the taxpayer comes up. That's their con. Everything's a fucking grift with these goddamn Democrats. What have they done, the Democrats in California? What have they done? They've been in power since 2011. Tell me what they've accomplished. What big infrastructure projects that they've strengthened, bridges, reservoirs, electrical system. What have they done? Nothing since 2011. They had one project that would have given them some sort of goodwill and accomplishment. The bullet train from LA to San Francisco, recently reduced down to Bakersfield to somewhere else in the Central Valley. Anyway, that was a big boondoggle. You know what they spent $800 million on? The Bullet Train Agency for the state of California. They spend it on outside consultation. A European consultation firm got $800 million. Boy, their advice, considering how things turned out, was shit. But here's the reason. Here's the reason. They fucking choked on their own fucking medicine. The goddamn state of California Democrats. You know what they did? They passed a law that said any citizen can sue on the behalf of the state for environmental reasons. In other words, somebody's building a house a couple blocks down. You can sue them saying that you didn't do your environmental investigation. And there's environmental problems. So all sorts of lawyers, because all these laws are for lawyers to clean up. The lawyers have turned into straight gangsters, suing everybody and everything. But the one factor that's important in suing is the money. You sue the deep pockets. Anyway, here's another thing they did. Labor. They passed a law that said anybody working for somebody else can sue your boss on behalf of labor and the state of California. So you get all these frivolous lawsuits where the supposed injured party left 5 minutes early for lunch or some stupid thing like that. Stupid grifters finding minute problems that should be ignored because we got these fucking imbecile judges. White women, boy, those white women, they really fucked us. They totally betrayed the white men. Fucking white women, and Me Too. That's destroyed our culture. Turned women into men. I mean, oh, you don't have to have a husband. You can do it all on your own. Build your own career. You can fucking fight like a man, women. Boy, did they fuck up our culture and the relationships between men and women. Everybody wants to be alone where nobody can abuse you or take advantage of you. It's an isolated culture. Everybody's on their own, too scared to associate with anybody else. Anyway, back to the subject, which is the state of California passing laws so attorneys can get rich and rip everybody else off. There's this one law they passed for like normal businesses in California, little businesses like a gas station. You have to provide accessories for disabled people, like ramps and specialized bathrooms where disabled people can manage. Well, they've taken advantage of that too. This guy had a gas station, just a small business. I think he had 2 or 3 gas stations. And he got sued by an attorney. They send you a letter saying, we're going to, that's the law. These private attorneys can sue on behalf of the state. And the suit revolved around his ramp for wheelchairs. He had a ramp. He built a ramp and all these things and special parking spaces for disabled people with those license plates. That was mainly corruption too. People just got this disabled license plate so they could park wherever they wanted to. Corruption ran rampant in California. It's just nothing but one big grift. Everything's a ripoff. Lawyers out to cut your throat if you got any money in your pocket. Anyway, back to the gas station with the ramps. He had a ramp for the wheelchair, but the ramp was 1% off. 1 fucking percent off in the level that it was supposed to be. So naturally, he had to pay out the money. And he said, I just paid out the money, the settlement, to the attorney, and I didn't even fix anything. Of course, they didn't care about fixing anything because all they wanted was the money. Everybody's a grifter in California, and the fucking gangsters on top, the California Democratic, Gavin Newsom in the legislature are all crooks. They're foreigners. Because what I think they tried to do is bring the European model here to California, where if you're rich and a billionaire, well, you run things and everything's wonderful in your world, but you destroy the middle class and feed the damn poor people and illegal aliens, and that becomes your constituency. The reason you do all these laws to support this constituency of illegal aliens and poor people and criminals. Remember HSBC Bank, Hong Kong Shanghai Bank Corporation? Remember that? That's a big power in Britain, one of Britain's most reputable and powerful banking institution, been around for several hundred years. Well, originally, HSBC Bank sold opium to the Chinese. And you know the Opium Wars, you know what that was? That was Britain forcing the Chinese to smoke and smuggle in the opium. The emperor tried to fight them, and they just Britain attacked them and made them import opium to turn all their citizens into opium addicts. Anyway, that's HSBC Bank. That's their history. And now, I think in the last, 30, 40 years, HSBC Bank has been indicted for money laundering several times. And the result was they just paid a big, huge fine. I think the last time they paid a $2 billion fine. Nobody goes to jail, though. Because that's the new economy in Europe. Criminal money is accepted. Drug cartels and human slavery rings and all sorts of demonic fucking gangsters put their money in HSBC and they accept it. And that's what they're trying to do here. Because they destroyed the police departments and every regulator who looked after the money flow and let the fucking criminals run wild, in California in particular. Run wild, stealing from the government, starting fake businesses to get money, and nobody was regulating them, because California got rid of all the regulators for that. But where did they keep the regulators? For the average productive citizen. That's where they kept the goddamn taxes and regulators. They didn't downsize them. White man, you got some business or you have a good job and earning money. Regulators and taxes, they watch you. You have to obey the law and pay your taxes. All this freedom to do what you want is only for the criminals and the illegal aliens and all the poor people they're bringing here. That's such an injustice. They attract lazy, worthless poor people who for whatever reason, think they can just live off the fat of the land, taking money from the government. And they support, that's the constituency of the goddamn Democrats. And they allow them to vote. Where does it say in the United States Constitution that illegal aliens can vote? It's totally unconstitutional. And the thing about this goddamn evil Democratic machine is they're totally non-transparent. Completely non-transparent. You figure that the liberals are dedicated towards free speech and transparency of government. Oh, no. Remember the agency, LA City Agency for the Homeless? They got sued and the judge ordered an audit, and there's all sorts of missing money and accounts. And the LA City Homeless Agency, what they did is they flipped off the judge. They flipped him off and said, you know what, we're not giving you nothing. No evidence for you. And they all got attorneys, and the taxpayer had to pay for the attorneys. Now, they were in business This happened like 2 years ago, and just recently, a few weeks ago, they had to lay off a bunch of these LA City workers for this homeless agency. 2 years after the audit. Unbelievable. Nobody's going to jail. Nothing bad happening. All the money they steal, they keep. Put in offshore banks. These Democrats are fucking evil. Don't vote for them. And especially the white women. These liberal white women who betray the white men. Fuck the white women. Don't vote for white women. They're nothing but backstabbing betrayers who've destroyed our culture. That's all I gotta say.